Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with an Ace of Swords, clarity. You are someone who believes in something, right? You're somebody with like a mission statement of your life. You know, I think that you're somebody with strong opinions, but you also have this ability to sort of mix and match your knowledge. You know, I think you're very well read. You've studied a lot. You know a lot about a lot of things. I think that you have an ability to sort of transcend all of that and find the sort of core truth of things. You know, you have an ability to transcend just like the arguments and the debates and the conversations. There's something in you that rises above those, right? Something in your mind or in your consciousness that penetrates the veil between our intellect and the divine realm, right? Our rational mind can only take us so far. There's something else in you that connects with, like, I don't know, you can connect with the spirit of something. Even when the data seems, you know, mixed matched, it seems a little bit maybe contradictory sometimes, you have like a really, I don't know, you have like a deeper understanding of things that goes beyond just intellectual knowledge. Okay, you probably meditate. You probably have a very strong relationship with the divine. I think you're somebody that probably has like spiritual downloads. Okay, and you might be experiencing something like that right now. Okay, this card is showing that your consciousness is piercing that veil into outer space, right? We're getting out of the Earth's atmosphere. We're getting into outer space where you can receive the starlight. So I feel like maybe there's a message coming in for you from Spirit. Okay, we've got the Sun card. Look at that. Beautiful. That is, both of these cards are cards of clarity. You probably are having some very strong visions lately. You might be having more memories. I think past life memories. I think future life memories. Okay, I think that there's a flood of images coming into your consciousness right now, and maybe this is kind of about you making sense of them. Here's that Four of Swords. We have a Queen of Swords, Queen of Cups, and a Ten of Wands. Yeah, I think there's a download coming in for you. And I think it is something where you are having to, reconcile your emotions and your thoughts, your beliefs, right? Your thinking and your feeling, right, are going to have to be sort of investigated a little bit. You're going to have to see how this new information is changing the way you feel about things and the way you think about things. With the Queens here, feels like this is us kind of getting a little bit more clarity about how we feel, getting a little bit more clarity on what we believe in, right? Beliefs and values, yeah? So that you can move forward fully committed. 100% of your energy going forward. So something's coming into your life right now that's going to shed some light on your feelings and your thoughts, your beliefs and your values, okay? And that's going to let you move forward with free energy. There's going to be nothing that's holding you back from going all into something, okay? Whether it's a business thing or all in on a relationship. Oh, the Ten of Cups, look at that. And there's another Queen, Queen of Pentacles, okay? We have a Princess of Wands and a Princess of Cups, a lot of court cards here today. So I feel like this is about you and a larger group of people. Maybe this is family, this is friends, this is coworkers. But I feel like this is, you're sort of getting a deeper understanding of something that's going to allow you to move forward with no resistance, right? That internal resistance, kind of thoughts and feelings, right? The water and the air energy is not going to be holding you back from putting all of your energy into this. Yeah. So I think that's really a very good sign. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here with big red ant right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay. Now, Spirit is saying something about you seeing a sign. I feel like you found like a coin or something on the ground, and you kind of saw that, and not like maybe a lucky penny, but you kind of saw something, and it was a sign. Like you almost said, like, Spirit, show me a quarter. You know, if you're listening, like, you know, show me a sign. You know, and I think that you did. You saw it. It was, I don't know if it was a coin, but it was something on the ground. Anyway, as we look around the room, the only major arcana card we have is the Sun, and the Sun is clarity. Okay? This is you getting full illumination about a situation in your life right now. And it might be one where we're not really sure how we think, we're not really sure what we feel, we're not really sure, like maybe it's kind of a little bit of doubt, like should I go forward? Should I invest in this? Should I go level 10 energy and put everything I have into this thing? And, you know, so it's kind of saying that maybe there was a lack of clarity. You know, maybe there was there's a situation where we didn't have very many answers. We didn't know, maybe we didn't know who we were. We didn't know where we'd been or where we're going. We didn't know where we came from, so how could we know where we're going? And maybe part of this download is some intentional past life work that you've done, okay? I think you have tremendous willpower, and I think that you're trying to get a deeper understanding of who you are, of your life, of your essence, of your energy, of your soul, so that you know kind of how to get the life you want. You know where you're supposed to go from here. Okay? The Sun card is fully illuminated, full awakening. Okay? And I think it begins with this. It begins with us concentrating our mind, and I think this is meditation. Okay, and I'm a big proponent of meditation, because this to me feels like we're trying to silence the turmoil of our mind and get a direct Gnostic experience, right? Direct gnosis here. A spiritual download that says, who am I and why am I here? We're looking for the star, right? The starlight coming in through this is like the antenna on the top of your head. Well, the thoughts in our head are is all the interference and all the static, preventing us from receiving the signal clearly. I feel like we're getting a boost of the energy here, and we're receiving the message big time. And I think it's showing us who we had been in the past, and it's showing us where we're sort of going in the future. Okay, giving you more of a sense of direction here. I feel like the Sun card is, if we're meditating, the Sun card becomes nirvana, becomes illumination, okay? Becomes enlightenment. But if this is that we're striving for clarity, and striving for clarity doesn't mean we're sitting there ruminating on something. It doesn't mean we're thinking, trying to figure it out. This is saying that I'm gonna figure it out by not trying to figure it out. I'm going to empty my mind, and the answer will come to me. Well, boom, there it is. Okay? Down beneath the surface, we have that Four of Swords. You're the kind of person that understands how to breathe, calm yourself down. You know, when we're in what I feel like is a complex situation involving a lot of people, I feel like the emotions are probably very high. I feel like the tension is high. We're questioning what we think, what we believe. We're questioning what we value. And we're trying to figure out what we want and what we don't want, where we're going, all this stuff. You are able to maintain a sort of mental balance within yourself. And And I think this is a lot of useful tools that you have, like breathing, the breath work, the meditation, and that sort of thing. That this is kind of like this is a mental foundation. Maybe it's mantra. It's all the tools that we might use to keep ourselves, well, from getting caught up in the drama, maybe caught up in the turbulence of things. See, it's interesting. We don't find a 5 of anything here. I don't see a 5 of swords. I don't see a 5 of pentacles, a 5 of cups. I see a 4. In fact, we've got our fire cards. We've got our water cards. We even have our air cards over here. We have a little bit of earth energy, but it's mostly court cards. It's mostly these other people and these various personalities. And I think you're trying to sort out your relationship to the world and who you're supposed to be in the context of your life right now. The 4 of Swords is a stability. It's a mental, and when we can have our mind at rest a little bit, then we're able to have that meditation. See, we're able to we clear our mind. We sort of stabilize our thoughts either through breathing, a sort of rhythmic breathing, or the repetition of a mantra, or even a rhythm of like a walking meditation. Maybe that's where you found the coin. Then it opens up our mind to receive the clarity, to receive the knowledge. The clarity, I think, is, in this case, it's the emptying of the mind so that it can receive that light. Okay, and this is the light of purpose. This is the light of, I think it's you with the vision of past, present, and future. Okay, so the 4, I think you're the type of person that knows how to invoke these kinds of states, whether this is through chanting or even dance, but it's rhythmic, right? It's kind of a rhythmic breathing, and I think these tools are useful even when we're in some sort of turmoil, which you don't seem to be, probably because you do this. But when we are in turmoil, these are the things we fall back on to sort of stabilize us again. The breathing, the chanting, the rhythmic something or other, the walking, that helps us to pull ourselves out of the overly tumultuous emotions and the complex, dramatics of life, right? We see that in the background here with your Queen of Swords, because the Queen of Swords is the one that can rise above the tumultuous waters and have that sort of breath of fresh air, It's very difficult for us, for anybody, to kind of figure things out when we're right in the middle of the drama. When you're in the heaviness and you're in the turbulence, it's not easy that we don't think clearly. We don't have clarity. We're down here in the mud, sort of wrestling. We don't have, when you're in your sort of fight or flight kind of thing, we may not be making the best decisions. We may just be reacting. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's, if you're walking across the street and you see a bus coming at you, you don't want to sit there and, okay, I'm just going to breathe. I'm going to wait for the clarity. I'm going to get calm, and I'm going to detach from the situation. I'm going to rise above my emotions. And no. What you want to do is you want to react. You want to get the heck out of there. You want to jump. You want to jump out of the way, even if you end up scraping your arms or cutting yourself up or something. You want to live. So that's this one. We'll talk about that one. But generally speaking, when we're in some sort of a tumultuous situation, we've learned how to take ourselves out of it and breathe, walk away, do the chant, go for a walk, go out in nature, do the breathing and the mantra or whatever it is, go sit and meditate, in order to distance ourselves from the situation enough where we can get clarity. So I think that's what you did. I think there's something going on in your life that normally we'd have a lot of 5s. There'd be a lot of turmoil, a lot of friction, a lot of agitation. But there isn't in you because you've learned how to sort of step away from it. So I feel like you stepped away from the situation in order to get a better, more objective viewpoint on it. Excuse me, I'm drinking my holy basil tea today. You have learned to step away from something And then you're able to sort of get into that rhythmic zone where you can empty your mind and receive the enlightenment that you need on this situation. It could be that there is this family thing going on, or there is some kind of a, it could be a big thing going on at work maybe. But there are a lot of people here, right? Now, I don't know why Spirit's showing me a praying mantis. I don't know if that's like, you have one as a pet, or you have a tattoo, or you've got a little figurine, like a little plastic toy of it or something. But I'm seeing one of those really big in your life, and I don't know. I almost feel like you have one as a pet or something, but that's an important symbol for you in any form it takes, right? And also the tooth. Your tooth has been bothering you lately, right? Anyway, the Queen of Cups at the top here. I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a more objective, enlightened, a clear perception of what it is I really actually want. How do I actually feel? What do I really value here? Is this, kind of thing like, what do I want out of this situation? If it's a relationship, if it's a work thing, if it's like a family thing, it's like, what is deep inside my soul? What do I really want? Okay. And I think to find that out, we need to have this slight detachment from things. We need to be able to distance ourselves from what is going on. What we see here, right, with the princess, we have the queen, the queen, the queen. We got a princess and a princess. This is the impulsive actions. Right, again, this is the card that if there's a bus coming at you, you want this card there, because this is the card that sort of is saying, like, I'm going to leap out of the way. I'm not going to sit there and think about it. I'm just going to jump out of the way, right? This is kind of the same kind of impulsivity, but it's emotional impulsivity. It's kind of like saying, however I'm feeling, that's how I'm going to act. Whatever I'm feeling now, that's going to be my behavior. Okay? And usually this gets us in trouble, right? We're feeling a certain type of way, and we end up behaving that way too. And so it ends up being not very responsible. So we're trying to avoid both of these. The impulsive behaviors that are based on feeling or based on sort of a stimulus, right? And we're trying to be more objective. So I think we're kind of taking a break from things almost and saying, what do I really want? How do I really feel? And how should I behave going forward, right? What should I put all my effort into? How do I really want to handle this? Okay, so the queen is trying to find the depths, right? Trying to find out what it is that I really want. I know what I want on the surface. The surface thing, I just want what everybody else wants. I know the shallow end of things. I know what I want in that very superficial way. I want more pleasure, less pain. Doesn't everybody? But deep inside, what do I really want? What am I willing to go level 10 investment on? Okay. What am I willing to do this 10 of Wands type of work with? Because this is like I'm putting all my energy into something. You're investing time, effort, energy, and or money into something. Okay? And I wonder if it has to do with this work dynamic, or if it's a particular relationship with another entity, a person, or even an idea. But you're realizing what you do want, and then you're going to put all your effort into that. You're going level 10. Okay, now we're going to talk about Path of the Serpent. Level 10 input, level 10 output. 10 of Cups. Dream come true. This is worth the investment, right? This is a 1-to-1 ratio. So I kind of feel like you're putting in all this effort, you're getting all the rewards. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Readings are totally free. This is your general energy too. I think this is now, I know what I want. We searched through the Queen of Wands, and we've discovered that in ourselves, and now we're able to put that energy into getting what we want, doing what we truly are ready to commit to. Maybe the Ace of Swords is us kind of wanting to know, like, what am I going to promise myself to? What am I going to commit to? And then we commit to it, and we go level 10 effort. We hold nothing back. Holding nothing back. Okay? Now, Spirit's saying you have a connection with the Norse gods and goddesses, right? And you do some, I don't know if you do the runes or something like that, you have a connection with the Norse gods. Or that might be important for you to study that pantheon a little bit. Anyway, the Ten of Cups is us knowing the kind of life we want. We may not have the details. I know I want to have blue wallpaper and a nice fuzzy couch and some shag carpet or something, right? No, but I know how I want my life to feel. I may not know what the objects in my life are going to look like or what color the wallpaper will be, but I know how I want my life to feel. And that, I think, makes more sense than even knowing the physical objects that I want. Well, okay, I want money, I want a car, I want a leather sofa, right? Money green, right? I don't know. Maybe that stuff doesn't really matter to you, but I know how I want it to feel. And maybe the feeling of my life, maybe it's the money green leather sofa. It's going to help me with that feeling to cultivate the kind of a long-term overall contentment that I have in life. I know how I want this dynamic to go. And so maybe this is about you with all your relationships figuring out, like, what do I really want? Well, I want love, I want support, I want my pets, my plants, my people, but I want the dynamic to be there. You know, because we can be surrounded with all the things that we want, the people, the places, the things. We can be surrounded with all the nouns. But what about the adjectives? You know, we can have all the things, but not the feeling. So I think we have to know the feeling we want, and that's how we decide our actions and our behaviors going forward. Because we may think the shag carpet's going to make us happy, but then we put the shag carpet in and we say, I'm still not happy. So we start with the happiness. First, I know what I want to feel. And then we can kind of say, okay, you know what? If things aren't making me feel this way, if I don't feel content, if I don't feel love and support, and I don't feel like my life has the emotional tone that I want, I need something else. I don't care about the shag carpet or the sofa, right? I need maybe the relationships or the interconnectedness of things, the meaning, the richness, the depth, the sense of purpose that these things have. And I think it's more about the people than the objects, obviously. It's not about the sofa, but who's sitting on there chilling at your house with you. Now, the Queen of Pentacles in the relationships, okay, this is now, we're trying to understand what I believe, what I value, and what I want. Physically, what my physical achievements, what I want them to be. I feel like, in your relationships, you're not so much focused on the material things. And I think maybe at one time you were. But I feel like as you get this sort of revelation of your past and future lives, maybe you realize that your life is going to become a lot of different things. That you're going to wear a lot of hats, you're going to travel to a lot of places, you're going to have a lot of abundance, and you're going to have probably days where there's not so much abundance. But you're going after the meaning and the purpose of your life. I think you're having that revelation of what the purpose is for you. And having the purpose can take you in many different realms. You know, your purpose is to, let's say, heal the world through your art. Well, it doesn't mean that you just have to be one particular type of artist in one medium, in one location, in one type of genre or whatever, one kind of niche. It could take you all over. You could do that. You express that through all sorts of different media. The physical realm. The way it manifests can be vastly different, day to day even. Okay? So it's not so much about what you're doing, but about how and why you're doing it. Okay? I think that you've been making a lot of progress in your life with dealing with your thoughts and feelings. I think your internal spiritual development has really come a long, long way. Okay? What we see in the position of the obstacle is the Princess of Wands. And that's somebody who tends to react to things impulsively. Like whatever the stimulus is, I just have this automatic response, and I don't think about it. It just happens, right? And so this makes sense that this is kind of what we aren't wanting right now. We don't want to act impulsively. We want to be able to pause right now and meditate and get the clarity, right? Get the download, get the enlightenment, and know what to do. So right now we're not looking for the impulsivity. Right now we're trying to put some space between the impulse and the behavior, or the stimulus and the response. Okay, and that stimulus can come from inside or outside. It's the impulse, right? So we're trying to put space between the stimulus and the response by pausing, sitting down, meditating, skipping a beat, taking a breath, meditating on it for a minute, right? Before we jump into something. I think the queens also in the tarot, the queens are always looking at the past too, right? So I think that we're looking at things that we used to believe, feelings we used to feel, objective goal, material goals we used to have, and we're kind of thinking like, Spirit is revealing a different life to me than that. So we might be having a strong, a strong revelation about our past and where we have been, and now how things might be changing in the future, because now the princesses are focused on right now. So I think as much, as much as we're trying to avoid the impulsivity, we're trying to make a pause. I think once we have this sort of revelation, we can go back to focusing on the here and now and sort of trusting our stimulus response, our feeling behavior sort of modality, right? Especially with the Princess of Cups, because once we find the depth of who we are and what we want, and we really we connect with that here, we can go back to trusting that feeling, letting that feeling motivate us. We always talk about that, right? You got to trust your feelings, you got to follow your heart, and that sort of thing. Well, I'm not going to follow my heart if I don't know what the heck it wants and what it's doing, and if I don't understand it at all, I'm not going to maybe follow it. So I might want to put some space between it, between that feeling and that behavior. Otherwise, I'm just running around doing whatever the heck I feel in the moment. There's no purpose or depth there. So we find the depth first through self-reflection and through this enlightenment process, and then we can trust our heart. Because now we know where it's taking us, and now it's almost like it has a sense of direction now. Because otherwise, this card is literally like, however I feel in the moment, that's how I'm behaving. So we're educating the princess a little bit, so that we can trust the movement. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card over here. Let's see what we have. I think maybe we'll get some pentacles. I think maybe we'll get the death card, the Scorpio power card, showing the slow sort of evolution and transformation of your life, and how I think you're kind of shedding an old skin and sort of embracing a new purpose or a new direction in your life. Well, let's see what we have. We have a King of Swords, a fixed air energy. The King is another card that is focused on the present moment. And I think since we have the Queen of Swords in the background, we're sort of looking at the past and understanding how, what my plans have been and who I was and what I believed in. Now we're we're fixing our belief, I think, in something new. So in a way, this is you now taking this Ace of Swords and saying, okay, this is my mission in life. This is my purpose. Okay, and now we have that sense of direction where our impulsive behavior is purposeful. We may be taking risks, we may be kind of living in the moment, but there's a purpose behind it all. So in a way, this is the commitment. Okay, this is the clarity now being used. This is like I've had a revelation of what my mission statement is, and now everything I do is based on this mission statement. Okay, so I think we're coming to become a little bit more solid in what we believe in, and that's driving us forward, and that's giving us this kind of clarity and certainty that we could take out into our lives. And it's almost like now we have a certainty that we know who we are and why we're here, and we're ready to face the challenges of life, and we're ready to put in this level 10 effort and get the level 10 rewards. Because we sort of, I feel like you know your path. Yeah, I feel like you know your path. Anyway, we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner and a link in the video description. New readings for Scorpio Wednesday and Saturday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.